I had this one.
Nice.
Yeah. Are we going to play the entrance or are we just going?
We can.
Okay. Yeah.
Coming to the ring, pre-recorded from Baltimore, Maryland, the Young and the
Three, two, one. Welcome to Young and the Restless. I'm Andrew.
I'm Brian.
I'm Nick.
And today we're going to talk about
Dark
Side of the Ring and other wrestling documentaries and such. So if you don't know, Dark Side of the Ring is a Canadian documentary television series produced by Vice Studios. The series focuses on controversial subjects and events within the realm of professional wrestling.
I didn't know it was Canadian.
You didn't?
No.
The both of the creators are Canadian.
Yeah, I found out today when I was watching the Conrad Thompson,
Oh, the Confidential?
the confidential stuff.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
I don't mind those, but I still don't like Conrad Thompson.
It's his
There's just
voice.
something about him.
Conrad Thompson here.
Hey, Conrad Thompson here. We're Conrad Thompson Real Estate.
Yeah, does he sell like reverse mortgages or something?
I'm pretty sure he does. Because that's crazy.
Interesting.
But I also...
And he's married to
he's married to one of the Flair
one
kids.
of the Flair kids, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. You didn't... He's part of wrestling royalty.
I didn't know that.
He's
That's
from the
pretty
Queen
cool.
City.
He's Charlotte's half sister, right?
Or Charlotte's like...
Charlotte's
Charlotte's like
Yeah,
half
she's
brother-in-law or something.
Married to Charlotte's half sister.
Okay, so he's just Charlotte's half-sister's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Something like that.
But one thing I did learn was Jason Eisner, the so it was co-created by Evan Housey or Husney. I don't know how to pronounce his
I
last
don't
name.
know how to pronounce
And
it.
Jason Eisner, but Jason Eisner. So did you guys ever watch Grindhouse in theaters with the fake trailers?
Yeah.
Remember Hobo with a Shotgun?
Yeah.
He made that.
Fucking
Oh, that's
wild.
cool.
Yeah, and then he won a competition to like actually make it. So it's not that good. It's just like a B horror slasher kind of movie type thing. But he also did the ABCs of Death, which is like a horror anthology series, and like they go through all the alphabets and they're like short, like 2 to 5 minute like little like horror shorts. And they have like a bunch of famous directors do it, like I believe Takashi Mike did it, the guy that did the original Old Boy and Ichi the Killer and stuff like
I feel
that.
like we watched Old Boy.
I believe we
together.
did. And then he also did my favorite newer horror series, VHS. He was in VHS 2, The Slumber Party Alien Abduction, which is a very good little short. And I believe all of them are still on Netflix.
I just saw The Conjuring last night. I know this is off topic, but I just saw it for the first time.
The Conjuring is a great movie series.
Pretty solid. We're starting the second one tonight.
It is great. The thing about The Conjuring, I'm just going to say this and then move on. But The Conjuring, the mainline movies are great. The offshoots are fucking terrible.
What are the offshoots?
Annabelle.
Okay.
Annabelle Creation. There's a third Annabelle movie. And then you have The Nun, which was terrible. And then you have The Curse of La Lorna.
Oh, we did watch that one, La Lorena.
Yeah.
Curse of La Lorena. Yeah, that was not great.
No, yeah. So those are all offshoots of it. But anyways, back to Dark Side of the Ring. So let's talk about it real quick. So like, Nick, you described it perfectly earlier about...
Did I?
Yeah, so you said that Dark Side of the Ring kind of appeals to a lot of people because of...
It's because it's like a true crime series.
Yeah.
Right? And who doesn't, enjoy a true crime series? Like, even if you go into it not knowing anything about what it is, you kind of get into the whole docuseries thing is huge right now. So it's great, not just for wrestling, but just television in general.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to bring in more of a audience that hasn't watched wrestling?
I think it will. 'Cause I feel like people are generally interested. Like, who at one point didn't watch wrestling at some way or another.
Yeah, like even if like you never really grew up watching wrestling, you at least went to a slumber party where they were watching like Raw or SmackDown.
Right,
or
and
something.
even if you
Yeah.
don't think you like it, you're still like a weird kind of like, I'm interested to at least check it out and see what it is about.
Yeah.
I think there's a general interest there.
Yeah, I don't know. The Dark Side of the Ring has been so fucking good. Though just the way it's filmed, the stories that they're picking are really obscure. Like they do the major ones, like Owen Hart.
Well, which is smart, right? Because they do the big ones that everyone kind of knows. So like the casual fan is like, oh, I remember Bret Hart. Oh, I remember Owen Hart dying. Like they're gonna watch those.
Yeah.
So I I was watching the Killing of Bruiser Brody earlier, and the reason I watched that is that's actually the pilot that they filmed.
Oh, I didn't know.
But they did the Match Made in Heaven, Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth first because they're more known than Bruiser Brody.
Right.
And then that's why that specific episode is narrated by Mick Foley.
The Macho Man or the Bruiser Brody?
Bruiser Brody.
Wow.
And then the rest are narrated by
Jericho.
No, the first season was
I thought
he's
Jericho
in
was
the
first.
Bruiser Brody episode. The Colonel for the People.
Zeb Coulter.
Yeah, Zeb Coulter. Yeah, because he sounds like Stone Cold.
Zeb Coulter.
But I feel like the thing with Dark Side of the Ring is like it is very appealing. I'm not sure if it does necessarily like help people like get back into wrestling, but I do feel like to build on that point that you guys mentioned earlier, that it does bring more curious people along with like, imagine if this was on Peacock as well as the WWE stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool. It is on Hulu, which also has WWE stuff as well. So
I mean, do you think WWE should do more of a darker wrestling bias? I mean, they're never going to do that.
They're never going to do that because Vince is always going to throw the shadow, like throw the curtain over what WWE is, right?
Yeah, they want to be family friendly.
They want to.
So I was reading the trivia for Dark Side of the Ring earlier, and apparently Vince McMahon tried to block this from being aired.
Really?
Yeah, because
I would assume they had to get some of the footage from him, though.
I have no idea. Maybe it's public domain now. I mean, you can use, so we can have like music playing as long as we use it for like commentary purposes. That's how like YouTube videos get away with that kind of stuff. You can't generally market it or like advertise on it, but you can use it for commentary and parody purposes.
Yeah, because like there's a general theme with most of these episodes that at some point or another Vince McMahon is going to get introduced, and he is always portrayed as this big piece of shit. Him and Vince Russo are in this thing so much as just stupid pieces of shit.
Oh, and then you have Jim Cornette just being like, "Fuck you, fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, you fucking fuck you." Like
I told him.
Yeah, I told you hurt my friends, you hurt this business. And I love how he pronounced kayfabe, like, kayfabe. But yeah, like, but building on the like, because WWE was also known for putting out these huge, really well done documentaries that were telling the WWE
and they do
version.
Do a very, very like good job of doing it, but it is very much a WWE version. Like they're going to tell you their side of the story.
Yeah, so like I got back into wrestling because of the rise and fall of ECW and the WCW documentaries, because I would just like see them at Blockbuster and I'd rent them and just be like, this is nuts. And then like and then started playing the games again, and then just being like, I wonder what's going on. Like, I know who Bobby Lashley is. Like,
well, I guess WWE only puts out the ones like that put the subject in a negative light that they want to show the negative light on. Like they did the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, the life and death of Ultimate Warrior, and it's just like they just buried the fuck out of him.
And then they did it
like,
on WCW, ECW to be like, we beat them.
Yeah, like, but and then like the Monday Night Wars one was like very good and interesting, but again, it's like WWE was like the good guys the whole time.
But it's interesting too because the Randy Savage WWE documentary kind of buried him a little bit too, but this one did as well. Like
the Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, like he wasn't a great dude.
And then building on that, the AEW one or the A&E one.
That's what I was talking about the first like.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the documentary they put out, or the like years ago, the DVD.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yeah. I'm sorry. I smoked a little bit of weed earlier.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But wait, I haven't seen the A&E one yet.
I mean, a lot of it is built around the Miss Elizabeth story, which I guess because for a lot of WWE people, that is the biggest thing that he did.
Yeah, I mean, his time there, probably.
Yeah.
I think all of his, like, snap into a Slim Jim stuff happened in WCW.
It did. Which is weird. He got, like, the movie stuff and all when he was in WCW.
Yeah, because he got the Slim Jim promo, like, himself. Like, he contracted that, like, by himself. So when he jumped ship from WWF to WCW, he took Slim Jim with him. And then WWF wasn't getting that Slim Jim money. Which they mentioned.
Something I never thought we'd talk about.
Yeah,
Slim Jim money.
But I feel like Dark Side of the Ring did kind of open the door for these other documentaries to kind of happen. Because, like, you have Dark Side of the Ring just being like, look at Vince McMahon, this big piece of shit. And then A&E's like, Vince McMahon making jokes about being in hell with fucking Rowdy Roddy Piper. Like...
I mean, yeah, but there's also a weird contrast where I feel like everyone in the wrestling business has a very love-hate relationship with Vince, where like they respect him so much to a point that like they understand that he is just a crazy son of a bitch.
Yeah, there's people on Dark Side of the Ring that like have to work with him still eventually or interact with him. So I mean, whatever you say, you know, is probably going to get back to him.
Because in the earlier seasons you have like especially in the Brawl for All episode, which is my favorite Dark Side episode, you have what's his name, Brother Love,
Bruce Pritchard,
who works for WWE as the director.
As at the time of
maybe
filming.
he didn't. Yeah, maybe that was still during the golden years of Paul Heyman. Like, goddamn, I miss those.
But I think everyone knows that was just a really shitty. But that was Vince Russo's idea as well.
Yeah, so it's like they're just shitting on Vince. Like, Vince McMahon will take every opportunity he can to blame everything on Vince Russo, and I 100% support that.
But like Vince Russo always comes up on the camera. He's like, "Yeah, I did that."
You forgot to say bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I can't do a New York accent.
Yo, so that was my idea, bro. But at the time, bro, JBL's running his mouth in the back, saying he can kick everybody's ass. And I'm like, you know who's better than him, bro? Everybody back here, bro. Ron Simmons could kick his ass,
but also,
bro.
that's just Vince Russo. You could ask him anything, but yeah, that was my idea.
Yeah, like JonBenet Ramsey being murdered, that's my idea, bro. That was me. I killed him,
He
bro.
just lies his ass off.
Like, do you think he just, like, wants that, like, still wants that, like, fame on him? Like, that,
no
like,
doubt.
Fuck yeah.
Because he was even in TNA when, like, TNA was garbage. Like,
I feel like once you get a taste of it, you don't want to let it go. That's
it's
probably why.
literally, it succeeded in doing what he wanted to do, which was create Car Crash TV. Like, you can't look away. Because, like, every time I'm just like, Vince Russo's involved with this? Yes, I need to check it out. Like, but yeah, yeah, so Vince Russo. I also like Jim Cornette on it because he just does not hide how much he hates Vince Russo.
Yeah. I'd watch a fight between those two guys.
Oh, that'd be so sick. Nick, you're a big Jim Cornette guy.
I am. I think mostly it's because like, he's a historian, and like there's a lot of things that he does now that are kind of annoying because like he has such a hard time. And Vince Russo brings it up. He has a hard time of like moving into a more modern era. But like for the most part, like I agree a lot with what Cornette has to say
When it comes to wrestling?
Yeah, but like there's but like he has a bunch of stupid ideas too all the time. So
Like him getting up on the scaffolding.
I mean, I thought that was cool though.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. But like, didn't he run OVW?
Yeah,
At some point,
he ran Smoky Mountain, and then when Smoky Mountain got bought out, Vince gave him OVW.
Nice. That's crazy. Jim Cornette, crazy son of a bitch. I also remember watching that episode of NWA Power when he said that line that got him fired.
Oh yeah,
about something about a bucket of chicken and a moped.
Hey, did he ever really play tennis, or he just had a tennis racket?
He just had a tennis racket, I'm assuming.
Because
I used to have the action figure with him and the tennis racket.
I never did.
Yeah.
I never really I also didn't realize how young he was, too.
He got in when he was like 19.
Yeah, just
Jesus.
Always say it's for the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around since like the late 70s, and he's only like 60.
Yeah, he's crazy. But back to him and Vince Russo, I would pay big bucks to see that.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, so
Yeah, what are some of your favorite episodes?
so sorry, we keep going off topic, but yeah, so Dark Side of the Ring. Let's go around the table. Nick first. What is I would say, because I have a hard time picking it, so I'd say like, what are your favorite 2 episodes? And like, I will consider the 2-parters 1 episode.
My favorite one is probably the cocaine and cowboy boots.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Mostly just because like I never even knew what UWF was. So like to me, as like someone who watched a lot of wrestling as a kid, like in the 90s and stuff, like that blew my mind. That whole story was crazy to me. I've never heard of it. But I think, and my other one, I don't know, it's interesting because I don't want to say Bret Hart because I feel like
The screw job.
yeah, like I like obviously I love Bret Hart, but like that story has been told a million times. Everyone knows that story. Bret is very open about that story.
They made a whole documentary about it before Wrestling with Shadows.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard it so many times.
Yeah. So probably I don't know, probably the Von Erich one because that's such a tragic and sad story.
Yeah, because
Dude, that like never stopped getting sad. Like it got sadder and sadder.
like I remember, like I knew like the story of the Von Erichs, like I knew of them, but I never like watched any matches or anything. And then like I was just like, oh, that's crazy that they all like died weird. Like that's crazy. And then you're watching this and you're just like, fuck. Like, and then there's like the one brother left, and you're just like, shit, like this is crazy. Motherfucker lives in Hawaii.
It's crazy to me because like I remember Kerry Von Erich when he was in WWF doing the Texas Tornado. I didn't realize he had 1 foot.
Yeah, he hit
yeah.
it well,
Yeah.
right? Like his boot or something.
Yeah,
like
he would wear his boots in the shower so he didn't have to take his boot off so no one could see that he only had 1 foot.
So I was trying to remember who that was
Everybody
the other
probably
day.
like, what the fuck's wrong
And
with
I was
this
just
guy?
like, oh shit, that's Kerry Von. And then he probably used the excuse like, I want Owen to shit in them, or like something like that.
I need to wash my boots.
But it's crazy because like if you like watch matches from back then, like obviously he's not doing the same stuff that he was doing in Texas at the time, but he's still
moving.
moving.
You know, like-
Yeah.
Wasn't it like a motorcycle accident
Yeah.
or something? Yeah.
Yeah,
Broke his
that's
leg.
crazy.
That's so fucking wild.
Von Erichs, man, nuts. Brian, your favorite 2 episodes?
Benoit's up there because
That's a good one.
Benoit's also your favorite wrestler.
So it's hard to say that now that you know he's a murderer. But yeah, he was
Child
my
killer.
really dark. But he was my favorite wrestler growing up. So like I love knowing the details of that, and I was into the conspiracy theories for a while. So that was the thing. And then the Owen Hart one, really good. I showed Camille the Owen Hart one to like get her into wrestling. Because it's just so, like, not only is it the most horrific way to die, but it's also just, like, so sad seeing how fucked up his family still is by it.
Yeah,
like, still
like,
just, like, ripped apart.
Because for years I was just like, Owen Hart should be in the Hall of Fame. And then watching that, his wife is like, I refuse to let him be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, she didn't want him in wrestling anymore. And apparently he wanted to quit and be a firefighter or something.
Yeah, that's such a tragic story too.
I wanted him to save me from a fire. That'd be sick.
Well, wasn't your dad a firefighter?
My
too?
dad was, but it'd be cooler to see Owen Hart.
Like, what if Owen Hart like got transferred to your dad's like fire station? And you got to hang out with Owen Hart.
I'd hang out all the time. What's your favorite episodes?
Okay, so my 2 favorite. It's hard because I got in during quarantine because Vice on YouTube. I'm subscribed to them. They uploaded Benoit Part 1, and I was just like, this is nuts. And then I had cable for a little bit, and I was just like, wait, this is a whole series? And like just binged the whole first season and then caught up with this. But so my favorite episode to show people first is the Brawl for All episode, because I consider that and the Montreal Screwjob to like light-hearted episodes. Like they don't involve like much death or like drugs or like murder or conspiracies. It's just like, I know the Montreal Screwjob. It's a very easy to digest story. Like, it's, everybody should know that story. And then us people who have been into wrestling our whole lives, it's just fun to get a refresher every now and then.
Yeah.
But I like to show people Brawl for All, because it's just like, that was one that I remember watching live, like as it happened, and just not realizing like how fucked up the whole thing was. And it was literally because Vince Russo wanted to see JBL get his ass kicked.
Did you like it as a kid?
I thought it was cool. I also was a huge Steve Blackman and Dan Severn fan. Like, when I was a kid, I loved like the legit fighters, because my dad was into boxing, and we would rent like the UFC VHSs and like watch them and stuff. And then that's how I got into wrestling, like more seriously, other than just like watching it on TV, like, because we didn't get the pay-per-views and stuff when I was younger. But so I remember just watching that and just being like, holy shit, like, I remembered this, like Bart Gunn, like going all the way, like, and then just seeing how Vince and company like tried to even like predetermine the outcome of an event that was a shoot event.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy how nuts they were just going, because they built this whole tournament around Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and just being like you can't write that.
Yeah, but was it in the original plan to have somebody face Butterbean?
No,
at Mania?
That was a punishment. So you were to win $150,000, and then you got a push with Stone Cold. Like, that was the thing. But like, broadcasting wise, they were like, you got $150,000, and it was because like it was all these middle card dudes that had nothing going on.
Yeah.
And then Bart Gunn kind of like got talked into doing it, to just be like another victim for Dr. Death. And then
No.
and then
He
not
was
in my
not.
house. And then I loved how Godfather lost, but Dan Severn, I believe, was like, this is gonna ruin my legit fighting career, and like forfeited like after he beat the shit out of the Godfather.
Yeah.
And then watching the series, and the Godfather's just like, yeah, so I was smoking cannabis with some of the girls outside. I admit I did not train. And then like, they were like, oh, we're going to put you up against then Bart Gunn wins, and then beats the shit out of JBL. And then they're like, oh, we're not going to give you this push we told you we were. Here's Butterbean kicking your ass. Like,
Yeah, fuck that. I would say no to Butterbean immediately. I mean, I guess you can't if it's like, it's Butterbean. It's a huge fucking deal. But at the same time, you knew you were going to be buried after the fight regardless.
yeah, it was crazy. Like, and then also how they like, him and Bob Holly were traveling together, and they made them fight each other. They were like, oh, we're going to shift it around real quick, make it a little bit more exciting. And it's just like, you're ruining people's lives. And then just seeing Jim Cornette like explode on that episode, like, he literally just goes off.
What's like, I don't know, they're playing their own game. It's like if you could choose the outcome on your favorite TV show. That's what they were doing.
Yeah, but they couldn't. It still got hijacked by a runaway train.
Runaway train never come back.
Yeah. But I also love how like that ruined Steve Williams like career in WWF, and then he went to UWF afterwards. Like, that's or before, was he in UWF before? I forget. He was somewhere. But anyways, and then my second favorite episode is The Life and Crimes of New Jack.
Oh yeah,
That's a good one.
Just because I knew the stories of New Jack, but I didn't hear people describing what he did to them, and just being like, this is nuts. and then just a honorable mention, Jimmy Snuka, that one, because I knew that happened.
yeah.
But then just hearing like how it just like affected these people's lives, just being like, shit, like this is nuts.
I don't know if I should say this, but now I already opened my mouth. But yeah, I think I've mentioned it before, but Camille knows one of New Jack's sons, and that's why we watched the New Jack one, which was like, she got to see full like scope of how fucking crazy that guy was.
I didn't even know he had kids.
I'm sure he has a fuck ton.
He has one that lives here.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hope
Just saying hi. Yeah. But again, like shooting off of that, like so. I feel like the A&E biography, like WWE Legends, is like kind of like a counter to this series and how much this, because so for example, The Final Days of Owen Hart was the highest rated Viceland TV show, and the highest rated show aired that night, the night it aired. It had like almost like 700,000 people watching it.
Wild.
And then, but I feel like the WWE Legends thing is just kind of a thing. And then this is what I was talking about earlier.
That's the newest A&E one, right?
Yeah, that's the new one. So Becky texted me before we recorded and said, my mom wanted me to tell you that they're showing a marathon of wrestling biographies on A&E all day.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
What
so-
timing?
Yeah, so I was just like, that's nuts. So that's why I kept bringing up the WWE or the A&E documentaries. But
Well, they have the book. I saw the trailer for the Booker T one, which is coming out.
that's
soon.
coming out tonight.
Oh, that's tonight.
Yeah,
Oh shit. So
tonight, May 9th.
if we get this posted by we won't. But you can watch it.
Yeah. And then
I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, like, I'm sure it'll be fine, but
The Booker T one.
But his WWE time was whatever.
But they own, it's like they own
That's
WCW, like, so they own the film archive for that type of stuff. So maybe they'll do it that way.
I wonder how much they're gonna dive into his dark past, because like he had like a crazy rough childhood, if I remember
Yeah, I mean,
correctly.
but both of them.
Yeah, him and Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray. I didn't know that they were. We should have Andy
I mean,
on to
they,
talk about.
they
That's,
were like
that's his favorite
they
tag
were
team.
like legit like
like roughhousers,
Yeah.
like, you know, like
they went to jail, right?
yeah, they were
Yeah.
like
they
you know,
they started
beating up
wrestling
people.
to stay
Yeah,
out of
stay out of prison.
trouble.
Yeah.
I know the story was like Booker T's employer or something paid for him to go to wrestling school, and then that's how his life like turned around. So I'm sure it's going to be a real rags to riches story.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. I'm trying to remember some things. Like, I'm pretty sure. I think like Stevie Ray like pulled a gun on.
Oh,
Like, there's some stuff. Like the Harlem Heat days. Like, there's some stuff.
The Hulk Hogan "We Coming for You" N-word promo.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that was kayfabe.
Yeah, you think that was staged,
Yeah.
even with Stevie Ray breaking down in the background, laughing.
I think it just slipped.
Mhm.
But I mean, like, it wasn't like vicious.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt he said it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember the first time I saw that video, I was just like, because I
great.
didn't see it live ever. So let's shoot off onto other documentaries real quick and just do like a wide scope. So like obviously like Beyond the Mat,
Beyond the Mat,
one of the
classic.
greatest documentaries of all time in my book. Like,
Yeah.
because that also brought a lot of people into wrestling. So, for example, like my best friend Matt, never watched wrestling, was always just like never interested in it, but he heard about Beyond the Mat, and I was like, oh, I have that, and we watched it, and then he started like picking up like on like wrestling just like very loosely. Like if it was on, he would watch it, but he never like, it was never a destination for him.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Did you guys ever see Bloodstained Memoirs?
No.
No, what is
It's
that?
literally just a collection of shoot interviews that
No.
they talk about like just like wrestling from the 70s and into the 2000s and like extreme stuff, and then like Chris Jericho's in there complaining about how people don't take him seriously as a musician. It also took them like 15 years to make, so it's also just like you're just like Chris Jericho complaining about people not taking him seriously as a musician. He's like rocking the charts in like Argentina.
Yeah, he's
Like,
killing it now.
Yeah. Hitman Heart Wrestling with Shadows. That was the documentary about the Montreal Screwjob.
Well, it was the documentary about him leaving WWF. It just happened to be filmed that night.
Yeah. It was like the timing was
The timing
perfect.
was perfect.
Apparently there's a documentary by Paul J called
No
The
idea.
Life and Death of Owen Hart. No idea. And then another one of my favorites is, two of them actually, is The Backyard, which I have on UMD. It's
UMD.
I used to watch on my PSP all the time. And that's about like backyard wrestling and stuff. And That was on Netflix for a while too. And then my second favorite one is Card Subject to Change, which is about like independent wrestling.
Yeah, that one's good. That one has like Bryan Danielson and like everybody,
like ROH and stuff like that in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, you look like you're about to say something.
No, I was just thinking in general, like why I like this idea so much. And
Dark Side of the Ring.
I think any like documentary wrestling wise that is pulling back the curtain a little bit, just because it kind of gives you a more real life aspect about these people, because for so long, especially the older wrestlers, they were like a family man at home, but as soon as they left, they had to switch into this character because of the kayfabe bullshit, and they had to live it, which was half the reason why all this trauma went down with them anyway. Was because they were living a life that really wasn't them, but they had to live as this larger than life figure.
So do you think it's good that we're kind of like breaking down the walls as a wrestling community, that you're breaking down the walls of kayfabe and stuff? Because you're always like a big proponent of kayfabe, I thought.
I am, but I feel like there's also a big proponent of like not driving yourself crazy. And it's almost like the same thing when you watch a true crime documentary and you're watching it and you're like, why are these police officers on here lying? You can tell that they're protecting a certain like stigma of police code that
the blue line. You
that
don't cross the blue line.
Shouldn't be a thing, and it's the same thing.
That was
the blue wall of silence.
And it's
is
a
what
professional.
It's called.
They don't. Professional wrestlers don't want to talk about the drug use and like the sleeping with women and everything.
Just like cops,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
let me call my dad in heaven.
Like if everyone is just more open and honest about what it is, like you can do change and you can make it. You can still have it while it's
so
before it just goes to hell.
So the best example of that is Becky and I watched the Brawl for All, and then we were scrolling through them on Hulu, and she goes, who's the Fabulous Moolah? And I was like, oh, let me show you. And we played it, and I remember growing up watching Fabulous Moolah and like Mae Young, like old ass ladies wrestling and stuff like that. And then you're watching this documentary and realizing how big of a fucking bitch Fabulous Moolah was, and how she essentially pimped out these like wrestlers and held their contracts and never wanted to be never wanted to put over a new person. And then like they had at WrestleMania, they had Cyndi Lauper back in that one the female Hulk Hogan, and then Moolah came in and fucking stole her thunder, and then she just left wrestling that night, and like that one chick had to escape her fucking compound. Like, it's crazy. Like,
yeah, I didn't know all that.
She's not the only one that did that, though. She was just the one who was doing it to women.
She got caught,
right?
Essentially.
So, like back in the day, that was a lot of wrestling schools, because it was a way of keeping it kayfabe. It was like, well, you're going to work for me, and I'm going to take your money, and like you're going to, that way they kept it real. Like, there was a hush-hush kind of thing, and...
Didn't wrestling schools used to, and I may be making this up, but get like a bonus if their wrestler got
They used to.
Yeah, I thought that was something.
It's not really a thing anymore.
Well, do you think that was more of a territory thing? Like maybe like AWA, like getting, Hulk Hogan from Smoky Mountain or something like that?
I think it was more of a way to
entice,
to keep the business a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Gotcha.
If you only had so many legit schools, and you were getting guys from there, then you knew that, like...
Gotcha. Because...
Yeah, like here's some extra money to keep this thing running. Like, we can't have other people open up their own schools and having everyone know. Which is what basically happened
that boom
now,
that happened
right?
in, like, the 90s, so...
Anyone who wrestled somewhere and got hurt and stopped wrestling opened up a school and taught a bunch of kids how to do it and how fake it was. And then those kids never went to go on and do anything, but they went and told all their friends, like, well, this is how you do this.
Yeah, that's what
so
happened with
crazy.
me. Because wrestling schools, like, I remember the Monster Factory just because I had family in New Jersey.
Well, that was the big one. That was, Mike
that,
Sharp's.
Yeah.
That was your ticket to WWF.
And then
Monster
you
Factory.
had the Power Plant in WCW, which they advertised on their programming, like, come to the Power Plant. And I remember as a kid, I was like, I would go to the Power Plant and then immediately go to WWF.
Like, I wonder what their turnaround was. Like, if you went to Power Plant or the Monster Factory, like, how guaranteed were you to go and be on programming, or at least signed with the company?
You can see it now with the Performance Center.
You were guaranteed at least to be a jobber.
That's pretty good.
I mean, making money to do what you love. I mean, you know,
because like back then, like I know this through like other, like my uncle. He went to the Monster Factory there, and other people, and like if you just get on someone's good side, and like let's say because like Bam Bam Bigelow would always hang out there, and Bam Bam's like, hey, we got a show in Toronto. Dwayne, Barry, Jake, like hop in the car, let's go.
What was that sound? Okay, whatever. Sorry.
It was the wind.
Okay, yeah.
But like that was kind of like how it is, and then like Bam Bam would show up with like 3 guys, and Vince would be like, "Who are these?" And they'd be like, "Oh, they're Mike Sharp's guys." Like, all right, they're on the show. And that's just kind of how it was.
Sorry, real quick. So you're dropping these names as Wendell and I heard that noise, and we just started staring at each other, just like scared shitless. As you're like, Bam Bam Bigelow. Sorry,
I didn't think it was the wind.
Yeah, your thing broke.
Oh yeah, the awning. Anyways, whatever. So, but yeah, that's crazy. Like, so like people like Bam Bam Bigelow would just be like, oh, we need to beat up some people tonight. Like,
but I mean, that's even how it was when I started. Was like there was plenty of shows that I wasn't booked on, but like you know, they'd be like, oh hey, like me and Cliff would be like, Cliff like, hey, like me and Axel are going to Pennsylvania. I'm like, I want to tag along. I'm like, all right, cool. And then they'd be like, who's this guy? And Axel would be like, he's cool. And they'd be like, all right, you're in the Battle Royal, kid.
What a fucking risk, though. Like, that's like going to a show and being like, I got a buddy who's gonna fucking open up the gig.
Okay, so
is it good?
So hold on. So
Kinda.
Do you
Like,
guys?
What a fucking.
Do you guys remember that show we played? It was like one of our first tours, and we played in that basement with that band with the girl singer, and they were like teenagers, like their dads were there. And then we were like, yeah, we just got haircuts today, like blah blah blah. And then the guy was like, maybe you shouldn't have paid for a haircut.
It was in like South Carolina.
Yeah, something like that. But those kids were like, so how do you get a tour? Do you just show up to a show?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I remember
and
this.
we were like,
how do you think
we
this
were
works?
like, yeah, you think we just showed up here? But then like wrestling, that's how it works. Like
you
know,
actually
like,
just showed up. So if I wanted to be on, all right, say this is specific, but say I am a wrestler at a school and I want to be on WWE programming as a jobber. Do you like get?
Well, now you sign up.
You
through the
literally
Performance
sign
Center?
up?
Or-
No, you so they have like their own separate like website where you go and you can send in video, your name, who you trained by, whatever. And anytime they come in the area, they'd be like, "We're looking for help." So then they'll send out emails and be like, "First 50 guys," and then you have a training match with Regal. And then
Really?
If you can see this, but you probably can't hear it. I'm leaning in. Do you think that's how Name Redacted got on WWE so many times?
That's exactly.
Okay, yes. So I'm just
that's exactly what it is.
Okay,
I mean, like,
sorry.
and what they do is they look for people who are going to fit certain roles, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, him, like, they knew that, like,
Him who shall not be named.
like, you know, he bumped around and like, okay, cool. Like, Ryback, can you pick him up? Cool, right? So they look for people that they know aren't going to look good. If you look good, they're not going to put you in the ring with a guy and then, like, you make him look bad, right? They want you to get squashed for a reason.
So, and then this is years ago on the Chris Jericho podcast, they had James Ellsworth on. And the reason he got signed is because he said any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance, and just stood out when Braun Strowman was just out there squashing people in like seconds.
And that was the exact same thing that they did with the Ryback thing, where they were getting any jobber to come in, and if you were lucky, you got a mic for a couple minutes, right? And he said those magic words, right? He got lucky. He got with it.
That's fucking crazy. And he had no chin.
But you'll
so that helped. The look, seriously, the look fucking
But
helped.
you'll see it like sometimes it's hard to tell because like, if you don't go to independent shows enough around here, but like the EMTs and stuff, they're all those guys that you sign that get resumes, and you get it's kind of cool. You get $100 check,
nice,
signed by Vince McMahon.
That's tight
from
as hell.
WWE.
That's tight as hell. I would do a mobile deposit on that one so I could frame
A lot
it.
of people do. A lot of people will frame it.
Yeah, that's badass.
That's nuts. Because didn't you drive a golf cart for TNA or something like that?
Yeah, I did stuff for TNA and Ring of Honor. Same thing.
You drove a golf cart as a part of the show, or just like
As part of the show.
Oh, okay. Didn't know if you were just like driving it.
There was like they did it. There was a scene where like one of the wrestlers got in the golf cart, and I was driving the golf cart around the arena while he was being chased.
That's badass. It's pretty cool.
Reminds me of when I stole that golf cart in Cleveland.
I was thinking about that.
Or was it Columbus? I don't know. One of the Ohio somewhere. It's all just one big city. So, man, I wish I went to wrestling school. Man, that's crazy. But like, so do you feel like with these documentaries and stuff like that, it's gonna get people more excited to like get into wrestling, like become like wrestlers?
That's a good question, because like they have the new. We talked about the Vince McMahon documentary, or not mockumentary.
They have a Vince McMahon biopic coming out on Netflix, along with a Hulk Hogan one starring Chris Hemsworth.
But is that going to make people want to be into wrestling? Or
it's interesting because like all these documentaries talk about like you're on the road for so long, you never see your family, you get your ass kicked, your back hurts, you got to get surgeries, and then you get addicted to drugs and you kill yourself. It's not like anything. Nope. It sounds
and then
great.
like being like a 33-year-old like washed up musician, just being like, I can do that.
But I guess it does seem glorious to some people. I mean, I would never.
Dude, we fucking toured in a shitty fucking van covered in garbage for 250 days. Like,
covered in garbage was our choice.
Yeah, okay.
At a point.
we all had a drinking problem for 250 days out of the year.
I mean, the van
and bottle problem.
The van had a very strong aroma of like 5-day-old Red Bull. Oh, yeah. Like it was very potent.
That's what
and
I
just
smell
like cigarettes. Like,
oh my god! We can talk about this for a second, but fucking like every band that we met would always be like, "You guys smoke in your van?" And we're just like, "Yeah." Like it was like the one thing that nobody else fucking did, and we always did it, and I thought that was so cool.
We were just like cheap. I remember we had the Dodge with the sliding door, and we would always leave the window open and slam the door shut, so the window, you had to like maneuver it open. And Nick was the master of opening that thing.
It's funny later in like the band lifespan that people were like, oh yeah, I fucking hated driving with you guys, like because you guys always smoked. And I was like, oh, you just never said anything at the fucking time.
I never even thought about it.
Yeah, we were like we were the bad boys.
Yeah,
I remember we smoked on the bus.
Frat.
We did smoke on the bus.
We talked. We were like, we're not gonna smoke on the bus, and then we got everyone smoking on the bus.
Yeah, and it was just
people who didn't even smoke cigarettes. Like, fuck it.
Fucking up smoking on the bus.
There was that one little table that like faced forward right by the door. That was like this big, and it had the perfect like arm height.
It was like the king's
window.
table, dude.
Yeah, just being like, I remember like every morning Matt Chilla would just sit there, and I would just be like, hey, can I sit there and smoke? Like,
man, you're always sitting here and smoking.
Yeah. But anyways, back to wrestling.
I'm excited for these new biopics that are coming out, and I still haven't watched the David Arquette.
You Cannot Kill David Arquette. It's on Hulu.
Oh, is it on Hulu now? Mm-hmm. After Conjuring 2, you know what I'm coming after.
Yep.
David Arquette and Sonic movie.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Sonic.
I haven't either.
So just to wrap it up, bring it around to home base real quick. Dark Side of the Ring. 2 thumbs up. I got 2 words for you. Yeah.
I'm excited to see like what other kind of documentaries will come out of these kinds of things.
I mean, this is wildly successful.
Yeah.
Because they're doing the Dark Side of Football and the Dark Side of the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they did a little like 10-minute sneak peek after the Brian Pillman one live.
The NFL one's probably gonna be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, because it's just like Dark Side of the Ring. Like, this is so. Also, we kind of skipped over it, but like WrestleMania did Behind the Titantron, which was very good.
Yeah, those
and kind of
pretty
similar, but like these ones are like very like well shot, like artistically and stuff like that. And just like I love the use of like reenactors, but having it like in shadows.
Yeah,
so,
it's very, very well done.
Yeah, just stylistically very well. But do you guys want to hear the subjects for season 3?
Yeah, because I'm actually pretty.
Okay, so we
curious
have Ryan Pillman.
which was very good. Did you watch it?
For part 1, yeah.
Yeah, and then part 1 and part 2 are on YouTube, and a lot of these were uploaded to YouTube.
Part 2 is out.
Part 2 is out. I watched part 2 this morning.
They did. Thursday night was a 2-part episode.
Yeah,
but
it was, the part 1 was so good.
Yeah,
Don't spoil the ending, guys.
Yeah, it has something to do with a Hummer, and not that kind of Hummer. But so we're talking the H1, not the H2, baby. So like I was talking with Nick earlier, I was like, I already knew this stuff, so I was like kind of underwhelmed, but it was like very cool hearing like Steve Austin, these people, like when Steve Austin's like talking about the gold chain that he used to wear, I was like, oh man, like that's the gold chain he used to wear like when he was like in like pay-per-views and stuff, like that was like his one piece of flair, and Brian Pillman bought it for him.
Yeah, you get like a much more like personal connection to these people because you're hearing the stories from everybody who was around them.
It's like, yeah, like I mean, Pillman died what, in 97?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I haven't, like really like looked into it since then. Like, I remember, I mean, how old was I? 9? And like watching the interview with Vince and his wife, and and then like when the gun thing happened and Vince having to go on and being like, that was a bad idea. Like, but like getting more information now as like a 33-year-old, I'm like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
It is wild television. I didn't even think about it. It really is pushing the fucking boundaries.
Just pulled out a gun on Stone Cold.
Pillman's got a gun, dude. Like that's
everybody thought it was real.
Yeah.
Everybody fucking thought it was real.
Like,
that's crazy.
Dude, that's Vince Russo for you, buddy. Was that Vince Russo, or was he in WCW by then?
That was Pillman only.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Everything Pillman did was.
I loved
just
when
him being crazy.
I didn't know that pencil was like another term for like Booker. And he was wrestling the pencil. Like that was crazy. So we have Brian Pillman.
Yes.
Collision in Korea.
Which is
that
gonna be interesting.
So interesting.
I wonder if they're gonna have Ric Flair on it.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think Flair will do it.
We'll see.
We will see. But that story is super interesting. Why would you have an event in North Korea?
Yeah, and like Bischoff didn't tell anyone. He just fucking flew to North Korea.
Yeah.
People almost got killed. Like, because Flair, they wanted Flair to like denounce like America and all that shit, and he wouldn't do it. So they were like, kind of like uprising against him. Because like North Koreans had no idea professional wrestling was.
They also didn't know it was fake.
They knew it was. Yeah, they didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
They just knew the dudes were a bunch of Americans coming in and fighting these Asian dudes.
Yeah, because wasn't it
was New Japan.
New Japan and WCW,
yeah.
And it was Ric Flair versus Inoki.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah,
But it was like the biggest wrestling crowd ever. It's like 300,000 people.
Yeah,
that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And imagine never seeing wrestling before, and then just it shows up on your doorstep. You're like, what the fuck is
like,
this?
The Road Warriors are out there. Like, who are these white fucking people?
Hold on.
Into like football gear.
Collision in Korea, officially known as Pyongyang International Sport and Culture Festival for Peace, was a professional wrestling pay-per-view event jointly produced by NJPW and WCW. Featured 15 matches over 2 evenings, all Mayday Stadium in Pyongyang, North Korea. It aired in North America on August 4th, but it was filmed in April. That's crazy. Jeez, oh flip, this is nuts. Yeah, I can't wait to see the dark side version of this.
What else is on the
What other
list?
ones are
We got Nick Gage.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, the teaser looked good.
That's the one with John Moxley talking about the pizza cutter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's probably just gonna be more focused on like the CZW deathmatch kind of thing.
And his criminal career.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to jail a bunch of times for like
a
armed
lot
robbery.
of people.
Oh yeah, he was like addicted to
A lot
drugs.
of casual fans probably don't know who Nick Gage is, because I mean he really is.
I didn't know who Nick Gage was.
He really is only. He really only wrestled for CZW. Like he only did Philadelphia. That was it.
Okay. The Ultimate Warrior.
Is that on this season?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I don't know.
I feel like that's been beaten to death.
We got an award named after him.
Although there is that footage of him online where he's like yelling at students. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have.
In like a workout camp, and that dude's a fucking asshole.
I feel bad because like I don't know if I feel bad, but it's going to be an hour of everyone just shit talking. No one liked him, and he couldn't wrestle. So it's just going to be like Jim Cornette like just going off, and whoever else they have talking about him.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be everyone that's talking shit about him because no one liked him. He had a weird name.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah, his real name.
Oh, Jim Hellwig?
Yeah, Hellwig.
I always liked Warrior as a kid. I always liked him more than... I also loved Randy Savage the most, though.
But I mean, as a kid, yeah, I mean, like, the colors, he was ripped. He fucking ran down to the ring. Yeah. Right? As a kid, you're like, fuck yeah. But, like, when you watch him, you're like...
This is terrible.
You don't do it. Yeah, like, his
he
matches...
was the Ryback of that generation.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Good.
Grizzly Smith, I have no idea
that's
who that...
Jake the Snake's dad.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, I didn't know his dad was a wrestler.
Yeah.
There is a great podcast. They're a little long for my taste. They're like 3 hours long, but it's called Crime and Sports, and it's about sports people committing crimes, and they did one on Grizzly Smith and Jake the Snake like years ago.
Yeah, his dad's crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, his dad...
Crazier than him?
Mm-hmm. He's the reason he's crazy.
But is that going to be like a split? Because I feel like that should be a split thing.
I think it's going to be like the Match Made in Heaven, like the Miss Elizabeth Macho Man one, where like the first half is about one of them, the second half is about...
Will be about
But
Jake.
it's like two things in like 1 hour, you know? Kind of like when you would watch Doug growing up and it was 2 15-minute stories. It felt like a value.
Or Rugrats.
Yeah. And then you have Dynamite Kid.
That's
awesome.
That's gonna be a great one.
I have no idea who that is.
British Bulldogs tag team partner.
Oh, okay.
The British Bulldogs.
Okay, I know the British Bulldog. I didn't know the British Bulldogs. So Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain to somebody who doesn't know? Sorry.
I mean, don't you want to watch it?
Ooh.
It is in a couple of weeks, but
we'll get to it.
I can just read this Wikipedia that's tagged here. The WWF steroid trials. I'm excited for that one.
That'll be really good.
Because you've heard these stories about it and you've read them, but like you haven't heard people actually like talk, like interviews about it.
Yeah,
like, and
how
I'm excited
everybody else was affected by it.
I wonder if they're gonna have Lex Luger on there because he was all fucked up.
He's still fucked
up.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
He's a shell of what he was.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Feels insulting, but not trying to be.
It is. I mean,
fell apart.
Yep.
My aunt used to know him.
I'm sorry to laugh, but that's just like a fun fact to drop in there. Just like your aunt knows everybody.
There's like photos of them hanging out in a hotel room.
Like that little wink you gave to me.
I was trying to blink.
Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, which is known for that's the Japanese.
That's the Japanese
like death match originators.
Oh, shit.
Started in like '89. Luna Vachon. That's gonna be a sad.
That'll be a sad one.
Mm-hmm.
Why? That feels like there's not enough story there.
It's kind of like a more depressing China story. You know what I'm saying? Because she never really got over. You know, like she was like it was kind of like
because she was always the quote unquote like freak, the weird like
she was put in the fucking oddities with ICP, and a dude that held Cartman.
I wonder why they haven't done one on China yet.
I don't know, because like I know for years people have been asking about China. So China got inducted into the Hall of Fame with DX
2019.
Yeah, but she still should have been in years before, like while she was still alive. But I believe it was the adult films is the reason why.
Bad PR.
Yep, you know, I don't know. So Luna Vachon, and then we have the Plane Ride from Hell, baby. Another one that we've all heard a whole bunch of times.
I feel like it's gonna be weird because like it's just gonna be a bunch of people making up stories and telling half truths of what they know,
and just
know.
being like, I saw this dude sexually molest this woman. Sorry, trigger warning. But like, cause like you always hear like this dude did this and this dude did that, and then like this guy got shoved into the door and almost opened it, and it's like.
But I've watched like little documentaries on YouTube of the Plane Ride from Hell, and it's always like 10 minutes they get it done, like the whole story. How are you going to stretch it out?
I think they're going to do the traditional like Dark Side of the Ring when like so. My one qualm with Dark Side of the Ring is that if there isn't a lot of story, like meat to it, they stretch out like the events leading up to it, which is also a good thing too. But
so we went to the tarmac, and then we got on the plane,
and then they're gonna do the whole like, and then Mr. Perfect stood up, and then it's just like Dark Side of the Ring, and then they cut to a commercial, and then it comes back and it's like, and then he kissed a flight attendant and got shoved into a door.
It just seems like a really weird one to do. Like
I would much rather hear about like the Ring Boy scandal, or like something that you don't hear about a lot. With Pat Patterson.
Yeah, that probably won't happen.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. And then you have Extreme Pro Wrestling as another episode, just to kind of scoot
XPW?
on. Mm-hmm.
It seems weird that they're doing like 3 ultra-violent
Well, maybe now that
episodes.
they're getting into it, because, I mean, they did do the New Jack episode, which was pretty good.
Yeah, but to me, XPW... Like, there's a CZW...
But on steroids?
Was it?
Well, XPW also had the... they're the ones with the porn tie, right?
They're the ones... I think they're from like Detroit.
Yeah, and they
I
got...
know what
Yeah,
that
and then
one
they
is.
got... The guy that owned XPW and his wife were shooting again, trigger warning about sexual assault, a simulated rape video to sell, and then they got busted for obscenities, and then because he owned XPW got dragged into the investigation, and he had to sell it or get rid of it or whatever. I remember reading about that like years. This is like 2009. Like, this is like, I remember reading about this like years ago on like MySpace. And then you have...
It's a good news source.
Yeah. It was the Facebook of the day, man. And then you have Johnny K9 Bruiser Bedham, which is a Canadian professional wrestler. Johnny K9, he was, again, a career criminal, essentially. Murdered some people. He was in some gangs. Great. And then finishing off with Chris Canyon.
So I was a huge Canyon fan as a kid, so I will be there for that. And that story is pretty sad. So
It is sad.
Yeah, that is a very sad story. And then I think they're also going to go into the whole concussion thing too with that, because didn't that have a part? He was in the closet,
yeah,
and then he was abusing drugs and stuff because of
I think you're right. I think it had something to do with concussion at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then death. Hold on. Bipolar disorder and threatened suicide the weeks prior, and then he was on antidepressants.
When did Canyon die?
April 2nd, 2010.
2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I worked a show with him.
Really?
Yeah, like right before it happened.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he worked an ACW show.
He was also... What was his character before? Mortis?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Before Canyon?
Chris Canyon, and Mortis.
Yeah.
And he was in WCW, WWF, WWE, and then later career in retirement.
His shit with Diamond Dallas Page back in WCW was so good.
I never really was... I didn't
They had
know
the
much about him.
Triad, which was Bam Bam Bigelow, DDP, and Canyon. And then they had...
I do like all three of those gentlemen.
And then they had like a falling out, and it was Canyon versus DDP, and it was like really good storylines. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's kind of depressing downer to end it on.
Yeah, I'm all sad now.
Yeah, but if you wanna, tell us about your feelings on all this, you can either call or text us at 57 or nope, that's not it.
57.
I was about to read off somebody's phone number. You could give us a call at 410-929-4469. Again, that is 410-929-4469. Or you can DM us or message us or leave a comment at Young Restless Pod on Instagram.
We're going to be doing a revamp soon.
Yes, that is exciting. I'm very stoked
We're going to
on
talk
that.
more about it after this, but
Yeah.
we're going to look better. We're going to sound better.
We're gonna feel better.
We're going to feel better.
And then I swear on May 15th, brother, at 11 a.m. at 1031 Benfield Boulevard in Millersville, you're gonna see Justice Johnson putting a headlock on Baltimore Celeb Fest 2021, brother. And I got 2 words for you.
And we're also going to be doing something with Keystone Retro coming up. So
Yeah, we're talking about
yeah.
doing a contest with him
We'll do
and
some
having
things.
him on, so that'll be fun to actually meet our sponsor. And
yeah,
have
a
him
lot
on.
to look forward to.
Yeah. So again, we're gonna be at Baltimore Celeb Fest on the 15th. We're gonna have a little revamp. You can DM us at Young and Restless Pod on Instagram. You can give us a call or leave us a voicemail at 410-929-4469, or you can email us at youngandtherestless@gmail.com.
With a W.
And as always, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winners, the Young and the Restless! Austin 316 says I just quit.